we wait after the recording is stopped, and then we can talk.
All right, we're on.
Okay. Hello to everyone and welcome, and we are happy again to welcome our colleague and friend Sebastијан Золг, and we are happy to hear, as always, his topics about power virtual agents. And Sebastијан, welcome again, and the microphone is yours.
Thank you very much, Vladimir. Thank you very much. I'm just starting to share my screen, and then we kick it off. Let me know if you see it.
You're fine.
It's good. Brilliant. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you do well. Thank you for allowing me to present for the second time here in front of the Macedonian IT Pro community. It's a great honor for me. So thanks to Dimitar and Vladimir for making this possible again. So my name is Sebastијан, and I am a digital workplace architect for Swisscom in Switzerland, as the Swiss part of the company name obviously indicates. So if you haven't already, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I am more than happy to get to know new people. I am also an MVP on the Microsoft Business Apps platform, and my main focus is the Power Platform. So besides that, as a fellow German, I am also interested in beer, like all Germans are. Unfortunately, it's still a bit early. It's a Monday and I need to present something, so I'll keep that one for later. But if you, however, feel ready for one, go and grab it and enjoy the presentation, which, by the way, is brought to you from Germany, but with a nice touch of Swissness, as I could easily take a little swim and be right there. So without any further ado, let's look at the agenda. So the topic today is building a simple ticketing chatbot with Power Virtual Agents in Microsoft Teams. But before that, we will have a quick check-in on why the world needs chatbots, and then we go straight to a demo where we learn the basics of Power Virtual Agents, its integration with Power Automate, and if time allows it, we learn about more advanced features. I'd be very happy if one of the moderators could have an eye on the chat, especially during the demo. So please interrupt me if there is any question, or spare it for the Q&A session right at the end. And with that, let's go. So everything in life starts with a conversation. If we look at past interactions with software, we can clearly see the journey. Front-end design eventually became UI design, and UI design became UX design, or something like that. In fact, the X in UX is a relatively new invention, but one could say that good UX design is synonymous with natural interaction from a human point of view. What if one day the term UX design is no longer necessary because there is only one form of interaction between human and machine, and that's a conversation? If your name isn't Tony Stark and you dream of Jarvis by night, you know that we are still some years or even centuries away from this kind of naturalness. But nevertheless, we are on our way, and today a lot is possible. So what does it take for such a journey? The magic word of the hour is conversational AI. This is about a paradigm shift in how we interact with our software and data. Conversational AI comes to us in many forms. Of course, written or spoken language is the most natural form, but they will probably not be the only ones. We see early signs of interaction through sign language or other forms that increase accessibility for people with disabilities and enable use cases in industries where voice and text aren't options. Think of thick protective suits that make keyboard and voice inputs very difficult. But we also have conversations with the objects around us in the real world. Who wouldn't want to speak the pizza order directly into the empty fridge? Well, although the intelligent refrigerator has been a dream of mankind for decades and will for sure not become a reality before landing on the Mars, we encounter examples of conversational AI in everyday life more and more often. Those examples are best known as chatbots. I have a logical structure in my head on the nature of chatbots that probably doesn't meet any scientific standards, but since we are on a meetup here, I want to share it with you anyway. We have customer care bots, which you usually find at the bottom right of any website offering to assist you with anything. We also have digital assistants like Alexa, Siri, Cortana. Okay, not really Cortana, but anyway, you got it. And thirdly, we see a lot of community bots on platforms like Discord and Twitch for content moderation, gamification, and other cool stuff. And finally, we have productivity bots, which are rather rare, and that's why we are talking about such productivity bots today. They are made for us, the employees, to become more productive in the context of our business. Now that we know that conversational AI in the form of chatbots exists, we only need to ask one question. Where in our business world are we having our conversations? I think the answer is easy and you may guess it already. It's Microsoft Teams. So Microsoft Teams is more than a tool for modern collaboration. Microsoft Teams is an experience hub. And of course, it is the central place for conversations and therefore the right place for the use of chatbots. Now, there is only one thing left to understand, and that is important if you want to stay close to reality. A chatbot is not an end in itself. Chatbots are architectural building blocks towards a more natural interaction between humans and technology. Chatbots are already appearing in Microsoft Teams in many places and in many forms. So let me introduce you to a few examples. For instance, a simple yet powerful example is the FAQ bot in Microsoft Teams. If used correctly, it can answer questions, identify company experts, and help harvest knowledge, may it be at the office or on the go. But we also see more and more chatbots joining our meetings to help us collect key tasks, conform to regulatory requirements, and record the meeting, or help us translate between different languages, including sign language, ultimately increasing the accessibility for everyone. So next time you want to annoy someone, just invite the Teams Echo bot to the meeting. I think that's still possible and often used by students to crash their classes, but please don't try it now, please. And last but not least, chatbots are also coming in the form of extensions. Extensions can be used to boost your search experience in Teams or to initiate actions on your messages. In almost every case, this is powered by a chatbot behind the scenes. So, since chatbots can come in so many forms, we need to have the right tools for the right use case. Microsoft provides us with a broad set of tools helping you to build all kinds of chatbots, ranging from no-code to low-code to pro-code solutions. So going through it from left to right, we have Power Virtual Agents, in short PVA, not in shorts, as part of the Power Platform, which is considered a no-code, low-code solution to build bots visually. The bot framework composer can be used to build complex chatbots, either as an extension for PVA or standalone. The bot framework composer still gives you a lot of visual support when it comes to building your chatbots. That is in opposition to the bot framework SDK, the code-first way to build chatbots in languages such as C#, and it's clearly targeted to pro developers or ambitious IT pros like you guys. And lastly, Microsoft is offering all kinds of templates to get you kickstarted. Templates are basically best practices blueprint that incorporate many building blocks to build chat and voice-enabled, almost Alexa-like virtual assistants or other ambitious stuff. But today, we will take a closer look at Power Virtual Agents, and the goal is to pick up all the basics while we go through the use case of building a simple ticketing chatbot right from within Microsoft Teams. So, are you guys ready? Let me know you're still alive.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, we are.
Yes, brilliant. So let me share my second screen for a second, very quick. So here we go. All right, we are in Microsoft Teams. That's for sure, and I'm pretty sure you know that. So let's look up Power Virtual Agents here in Microsoft Teams. So it's very easy to find. It's straight in the App Store of Microsoft Teams. Just go to Apps and hit Power Virtual Agents, and you see it right there. And you can install it to your Teams environment, of course, and then you open it straight in Microsoft Teams. This allows you to start building your first chatbot. That's very much straightforward. So I am creating a new chatbot in a sample team in here. So you can click New Chatbot, and since I am doing this in a way it's hopefully fun, I think I am going to name this thing like, be careful, Harry Potter. Very creative. Okay, so you can select the language. Of course, a lot of languages are supported, and the support is really, really good, but we stick with English for now. And then we create the bot, and that's basically it. Now it creates your first chatbot in the background. And a little disclaimer here, the UI refreshes from time to time, especially after you created your chatbot. And sometimes it looks like an error, but don't get confused. This is really how the product behaves currently. You might experience a few hiccups here and there. Okay, so while the bot is creating in the background, we can potentially start exploring the interface, and this is very self-explanatory because you see it right in the center. Here you have a canvas to test your bot, and also you have a couple of getting started actions in here, just like you are used from all kinds of Microsoft products. Okay. But at first, we're going to go straight to a concept that is called topics. And now you see this famous refresh after the bot is deployed completely. And that's a good sign. So we go to topics. And topics is nothing else than your dialog flow. This is the section where you design and build your dialogues. And the product itself comes with a bunch of predefined dialogues, including lessons. Those lessons are interesting if you start on your own, but today you have me, so we don't need it. We just disable it. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tweak the greeting dialogue of our chatbot. And for that, we click greetings, and you can see the dialog flow right in the designer. And we do a little bit of a cleanup first. So at first, we delete a couple of messages because it's very wordy. And the second thing we do is we adjust the greetings to our needs. So at first, we want to use the username who's talking to the bot to be greeted. So for that, we use the user display name. That all comes from Microsoft Teams. Then we give it a name. So this is Harry Potter. Never forget to use emojis, very important. And I can help you create a ticket. That's what our bot is doing. All right. As a second step, we're going to ask the user for his choice. So we give him two options. And for that, we just add a new ask a question. And that question is, how can I help? And we give the user two options. The first one is pretty much useless, but a lot of fun. Cast a spell. So again, never forget about emojis. That's option number one. And option number two is log a ticket. I think that's more helpful. Whenever a user goes through this dialog, you can save the responses in a variable. Of course, that's something we can reuse later on. So we store it in the user choice of his or her topic. Okay. So now we have a condition based on what the user has chosen in the dialog. And from that point on, we can add additional dialogues, just like child dialogues or sub-dialogues. So for the starting point, we just use a very simple one. We redirect to the goodbye dialog. Very simple. And you can see we can use the visual interface, the designer, to map the different actions and conditions to some kind of sub-dialogue in a way. Okay, so it's time to save our bot and test it right from the product. We click test your bot and we start typing hi. And you see, this is exactly what we expect. It shows us exactly what was the dialogue that was called. This is coming from Microsoft Teams, of course. And also, how can I help? Well, cast a spell. Thanks for chatting with me. Bye. Because that's the end. That's the goodbye topic or goodbye dialogue. Okay, not very useful, but let's start with another topic. A topic or a dialogue flow to create a ticket. So we start with a new topic and we're going to get asked about the phrases. So the key phrases is basically when the dialogue triggers. So these are the phrases you need to enter to train the AI of the product to detect what the user intends to do. And for that, we have a couple of tips in here. So I recommend to read this kind of tips when you do your own tests on the product. But for now, we go with something like, I have a problem. Then we have help me creating a ticket. That's another one. I'd like to report an issue. It's another variation. And of course, something is broken and I need help. So that's basically it. So this is some variations. It's not the best one, but it's enough as a good starting point. Okay. Furthermore, we give the dialog a name and we call it log a ticket dialog. Brilliant. Now we're gonna remove this message here and we're gonna add a question, ask a question. Tell us about the problem. Tell me more about the problem. So we want the user just put in what's the issue. And now we don't give options, of course. Instead, we take the user's entire response as the input for our variable, which results in a ticket description. Very much straightforward. And in addition, we add a show message just to confirm, okay, I'll open a ticket for you. That's it. We hit save and we try the dialog. Test your bot. I need help. Tell me more about the problem. All is lost. Not very creative, but that's it. You see, the topic or the dialogue works. So now it's about time to link our greetings dialogue with the log a ticket dialogue. For that, we jump straight to the greetings dialogue. And for the choice of log a ticket, we don't redirect to goodbye, but instead we redirect to another topic, and that of course is log a ticket. All right, just saving it. And after it's saved, we can test it out. Hi, log a ticket, and we are in the sub dialogue. See how it works? Does it make sense for you guys? Just let me know if you're still there.
Everything fine, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. So now it's about time to introduce you to a concept that is called slot filling. Slot filling means whenever a user provides extra information during his or her initial sentences, there is no need to ask for that information again. That's what makes the bot clever. And for that, we create a new entity, and that entity should help us detect where the problem of the user occurs. So we use a so-called closed list, and that closed list is called app surface. So this is really where the problem is. We have a couple of choices on the mobile. We see the problem on the browser, or we see it on the desktop. So that's basically it. And with that, we can go straight to our ticket dialog again, topics. We go to log a ticket. And now, even before asking what the problem is all about, we ask for another thing, and that is, where do you see the problem? And this time we identify the response by selecting our app surface entity. And we allow the user to choose out of these three options. And finally, we store the result in app surface choice. Okay, let's make some extra space here. Okay, so now we have the question even before asking what the problem is. And now we can easily adjust and tweak our message in here a little bit because we have additional information. Okay, I'll open a ticket for you in the, then we choose the variable app surface choice category. So it reads something like, I'll open a ticket for you in the mobile category, or in the desktop category, or in the browser category. Very good. We save it. And now it's about time to test if our bot works. So we have something like, I have a problem. My app is crashing on my mobile. And you see, it skipped the first question, where do you see the problem? Because it learned to extract a couple of entities from the sentences. In this case, it learned that mobile is somehow expected during this dialogue flow. And this is how you can tweak your bot to behave intelligent. So the more complex the phrasing of the user is, the more information it has, the shorter the dialogue could be. So, and for this, you can also use the variable watcher in the designer, and you see exactly that it has pre-populated the app surface choice with mobile. So what is missing? The ticket description. Again, all is lost on my mobile. You see all the variables are filled, and we get the response. I'll open a ticket for you in the mobile category. Brilliant. So that works very well. Now it's about time to create an actual ticket. And for that, we're going to store the ticket in a little Microsoft list, which I have prepared. I called it magical tickets. And Magical Tickets is very simple. It has a title, it has the app surface, the ticket ID, a description, and a status, and an issuer, of course. So that's the list I have prepared. And of course, you could connect it to any ticketing system whatsoever, or whatever system you use at work, or whatever you prefer. All right, now it's about time to connect Power Virtual Agents to Power Automate. And for that, we're gonna go again to the log a ticket. And at the end of the dialog, we say call an action and create a new flow. So this fires up Power Automate right inside Power Virtual Agents. This experience is brand new. We start with an empty template. And we're gonna name this flow Power VA log a ticket with Harry Potter. All right, now we need a couple of inputs for this workflow. At first, we need the issuer. So who's raising the ticket? As a second input parameter, we use description. And the third one is the app surface. Where does it occur? Okay. As an output, we want the ticket ID. Don't connect to a real ticketing system. We do a little bit of a hack in here. So we generate a ticket ID on the fly. We do this by initializing a variable of type string. So we call it ticket ID, and that is of type string. And for this, we use a little bit of power of X formula. So you don't have to learn that now, but it's really helpful. So this is just creating a random ticket ID that starts with INC, stands for incident, and that's basically it. So this one generates a ticket ID. And now it's about time to create an entry in the list. So we have create item, SharePoint. It's a SharePoint list. So we choose the sample team, choose the list name, magical tickets, and then we fill a static text for the title. But for app surface, we use dynamic values coming from Power Virtual Agent. So app surface, then we use the ticket ID, which we created through a formula. We have the description. That one is also coming from Power Virtual Agents. And finally, we use the issuer, which is the ID of the user creating the ticket. And as a status value, we set new to be the initial status of every new ticket. And finally, we return back the ticket ID. So where is it? Just like that. We're going to save it. And hopefully that should work. Let's see. It takes a little bit of time to save the initial flow. All right, so now it's saved. Okay, so now we can go back to the dialog, and we're gonna add this new action at the end of the dialog. So call an action, and now it should show up with where is it? Log a ticket with Harry Potter. And now we are about to map the input parameters to our variables in Power Virtual Agent. So we have the issuer. We take the user ID for that. Then we have the description. That's the ticket description. And we take the app surface choice. So you see, it's very much straightforward how we map the input of a workflow to the dialog, to dialog's variables. And as a result, we get the ticket ID. So it's about time to display a little message, show a message. And that's it. I've created the ticket for you. And of course, in between, we want the ticket ID as it is output by the workflow to show up in the final confirmation. Okay, let's try it again. After we saved the dialog, we can test the bot and we go straight to I have problem. My app is crashing on mobile. Tell me more. All is lost. Hopefully. Brilliant. So you see the ticket was created and we received an incident number. That's the proof that our workflow was working well and that we now have a ticket in the ticketing system with incident ID 72951. Brilliant. This one looks good. So ignore the unexpected error that happens from time to time. And we go straight to publishing the bot because it looks good for us. So we hit the publishing button. And this publish finally publishes it to the Teams app catalog. So that means you can now open the bot straight from Teams. It shows the common dialog to add apps and anything to Teams, right? You add it. And then it should show up on the left. You see it here, and we can pin it. And let's see if it works. Log a ticket. Where do you see the problem? Well, on desktop. And Teams is very slow. A very common case these days, huh? Okay, let's see. Brilliant. So he created the ticket in the desktop category. It assigned a new incident ID, and it says goodbye. Okay, so what's next? The next use case is once the ticket was closed, we want the bot to start a conversation with the user. And for that, we switch to Power Automate. And we create a new workflow that gets triggered when the item in the list, meaning the ticket in the list, is modified. And for that, we name it magic ticket trigger. And we choose the trigger when an item is created or modified from a SharePoint list. And we create the flow. So again, we are choosing the sample team. That takes a little second to populate the dropdown after you load it. Let's give it a few more seconds. Here we have it. So we have the Lintify sample team. We have the list again, the magical tickets. And now we add a if statement, a control statement, saying that if the status of the ticket is equal to closed, then do something, or otherwise do nothing. In our case, we just terminate the flow because that's expected. So we say it's okay. If a ticket gets modified and it's still work in progress, that's totally fine. So we report this as a success. And the second step is two things. So first, we need additional information about the user who was issuing that ticket. And for that, we get the user profile, get user profile v2, and we take the issuer again. That's the user ID in your tenant, basically, to resolve its full profile. And after that, we just post a message to Teams, post a message in a chat or channel. And here we have something new that was recently released and allows us to accomplish a lot of use cases. This time you can post as Power Virtual Agent. And you post that in a chat with the bot. And now you can select from the list of your own chatbots. So that's basically what the whole thing is doing. It is pushing a message towards the user on behalf of the bot we recently created. And that's a great thing because now you can just say, okay, post that user or post that message to the user with the mail address that got resolved from the get user profile, which got on its own resolved by the user ID. And now we need a little bit of text, something like your ticket with ID, we leave that empty for now, has been closed. Anything else I can do for you? Okay, so now we have the ID. Let's put in the ticket ID so the message makes sense, and that's it. Okay, so we can save it. I think it all looks relatively good. Then we go to test and we wait for a trigger. And now we jump straight to our list, and there we should have our new tickets. Yes, here we are. And we're going to change the status of one of the tickets to closed, because somebody did solve the problem. Now we go back to the list, and now we have to see. So the flow was triggered and everything looks quite fine. So let's see what happened. You see, Harry Potter was contacting us. So forgive me about the typo in here, but your ticket with the ID, incident, whatsoever has been closed. Anything else I can do for you? No, thanks. So this is how you can initiate conversations with the user from the bot by a trigger coming from any system. So it could be your ticketing system closing a ticket. It could be any other system you can talk to through Power Automate, and that could really initiate a conversation with the user. And I think that's really a great opportunity, because otherwise you are building different UIs, Power Apps, whatsoever. That's also a very good option. But I think this conversational approach is really, really, really nice. Okay, so how are we time-wise? A quick check with the chat. Maybe some questions here. Do we still have some time left?
Yeah, we're good. Questions?
We are fine, no
Chat.
problem.
Good. Sorry, say it again, please.
We are fine with the time, don't worry.
Okay, brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so let's do one last step. In the bot, we're gonna create another dialogue to check the current status of the ticket. So that might be a common case that people ask for the status of the ticket. And for that, we create a new topic. But before we create a new topic, actually, we create a new entity first, because we need the bot to understand our ticket IDs, the format of our ticket IDs. And for that, we generate a new entity, and this time we choose regular expression and call it ticket ID. So we have a regular expression that models how our ticket IDs look like. I've prepared that thing because I can't remember regular expressions at all. And we're going to save it. So this is how we teach the bot to understand things that are very specific to our organization. All right, so with the ticket ID at hand, we can generate a new topic with additional phrases, something like, for instance, what's the status of my ticket? Or I need to know the status of my ticket. And is my ticket still open? That might be common phrases. Okay, so you can improve the list as much as you want, but this is a very good starting point. As a first step, we ask a question, and that is what the ticket ID. And this time we choose our regular expression pattern to identify the ticket ID automatically if it's already provided by the user. Of course, we store the result in a variable called ticket ID. Now we can save it's saved, and let's see if we can find a good ticket ID. So let's take this one, for example. We have the incident. So, okay, let's see if that works. Testing our bot. Now we're gonna ask the bot, give me a second. Did we do everything? I'm just checking my script, so I'm sure that I haven't forgotten about anything else. So we added the question, and now I think it's about time to add another action in here, call an action, because now we need to talk to the ticketing system. So for this, we create a new flow. We take an empty flow again, give it some extra space in here, and we name it Power Virtual Agent and ticket status. Okay, so now we need an input, and the input is, of course, the ticket ID. Okay, that's the thing that is provided by the user. Second, we get the items from the list. Get items. So again, we are choosing our SharePoint list. Takes a few seconds to load. Still loading. It's a bit slow, honestly. Should be quicker. Yeah, so it's again the sample team. Then we take the magical tickets. And now we do some advanced stuff here. We say filter the ticket ID field of the list, and that one should be equal to what the user or the bot provided. Ticket ID. So there is a little bug in the interface. I have to scroll down. Ticket ID, and that's it. Okay, now it should look up the ticket by ticket ID, and that should allow us to get the status. And for that, we'll use a little bit of formula again. We initialize a variable, which we call ticket status. That one is of type string, because it carries our status, and the value is again a little bit of expression. We are just getting the value. It looks a bit complicated, but it isn't. So a little bit of formula. So this should be the status, and then finally we map the result to ticket status, and we map the ticket status. All right. So we are saving, and now we have a flow that takes a ticket ID. It looks up the ticket, it initializes its status, and it returns the status to the bot. Okay. We go back to the dialog, and we add a confirming message, show a message, and that message is ticket is. So now we need two variables. The first one is clear because it's the ticket ID. The ticket with the incident or whatever ID is, and now we need something else. We need the result of the action. So we call an action. We take the ticket status flow, we map its input to the ticket ID provided by the user, and then as a final step, we map the result of that workflow, which is ticket status, and that should give us a nice message. And if everything works, we are able to republish the bot again, publish again. So whenever you make changes to the bot, you need to republish. Otherwise, they are just available in the canvas. And after that, you can open your bot again and see what's the status of ticket. So that one was the one we created before. Let's see. Not exactly what we expected. You see what happened? It got triggered in the wrong dialogue. So basically, forgive me. This happened in my preparation for quite a while, or for quite some time. This is really the case when you don't train your topics good enough. So you need to add more trigger phrases, or otherwise it will get confused. Whenever that happens, you can do stuff like start over. That's a command that the bot understands. So it really kicks it off again, and then we can try again. Maybe something like, let's see if this works with just the ticket ID. No, doesn't understand. Status of ticket. No, I can't make it for now. I'm super sorry, but I think you got the magic behind that. The result should be very straightforward. It should tell you that the ticket is closed, it's work in progress, or it's new. So that's basically it, I would say, before I go too deep into troubleshooting. So if you have any questions, let me know so we can just straight jump in the product and see. Or otherwise, I'm ready to present to you my summary or my top learnings. And yeah, let me know. Open your mics. Don't be shy. Anyone needs to break the ice. You're still here, huh? Are you? You are.
Hello, I have a ticket.
Yes.
Not ticket, question. I have a question.
Yes, sure.
Are these functionalities available in the free tenants for the academic institutions? A1 for example, because this might be very interesting for use it with students.
Yes. I am pretty sure that this kind of functionality is available there. So basically, most of the Power Virtual Agent functionality is included in most of the Office 365 licenses. And I think that's also included in the one you mentioned. The thing is, as long as you do it out of Microsoft Teams, it's probably included in the license. But whenever you need a premium connector, something like connecting to an outside system like, I don't know, Jira or whatsoever, that's usually a premium connector, then you need a full-blown Power Virtual Agent license, which is licensed per tenant. So there is one tenant license, plus additional user license when you are using premium connectors. But I would say that it is included in the license you mentioned. So if you drop me a line after the call, I'm gonna check that for you. It's I know where to check it. So just let me know the exact license type. Maybe you can post it in the chat, and I'm
Cool,
looking it up in the license guide. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Maybe that's an interesting point in here. I'm gonna show you something. You saw I just created everything out of Microsoft Teams. Okay. So this one is really called Power Virtual Agents for Microsoft Teams, or for Dataverse for Teams, as it's often called in the documentation. But there is also the web version, as I always say. And this web version is the version you get when you have a full-blown license on your tenant. The interface is exactly the same, but there are some subtle differences that might come in handy for you. For instance, when it comes to channels, it's not just only Microsoft Teams, but also a ton of other channels you can connect your bot to. For instance, Facebook Messenger, or a custom website, or Skype, or whatever. So this is one of the premium features, in addition to what I said before. When you are using a Power Automate flow in your bot that uses a premium connector to an outside system, then you need this full-blown version. You can still model it in Microsoft Teams, but it requires additional licensing. So that's maybe an interesting addition to your question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Was that clear enough for you guys? Could you follow, or was it too quick?
Well, I have to admit that my brain melted for a few moments, but I'm alive. Thank you.
Okay, still alive. Okay. Was it too much? Was it too much jumping between the different products? Because that's a feedback I often get, but that's by design, right? So Microsoft didn't. Well, you know what I mean. It's sometimes it's too much interfaces.
No, it was actually cool to see making of live demo at user group presentation. So it was very, very, very cool.
Okay, nice.
I'm very
Brilliant.
sorry because gods of demos didn't listen to you until the end, but I guess that it is something that happens to all of us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you know, even during the preparation of the demo, I had it like happening twice, but I couldn't figure out why it is. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and I don't want to bother you with long troubleshooting now, but I think it was just at the end, so you know exactly what the result would have been. It's not very spectacular. It's just telling us that the ticket is closed, open, new, or work in progress. Cool. So let me sum it up, and for that I quickly go to the back to the presentation. So where is it? Here it is, and that summary is very short actually. So thanks for listening. I hope it has become clear that chatbots can be architectural building blocks for modern software. So next time you plan a software project, please think about it and ask yourself, could a conversational design of my application be beneficial for the use case? Or also think about, could I maybe interact with the user by triggering a conversation through a bot, even if I'm working on a traditional software? I think that's another interesting use case. Second, employees as the target group. I think we all need bots for the rescue. We need productivity bots helping us with the small tasks during the day. And if it all feels like a natural conversation and it's just a chat, then I think there is less and less overhead, and that makes it super sexy. And that is, Microsoft Teams can be even more than a platform for modern collaboration. It is also the platform for conversations, and that is not just limited to humans. It also includes chatbots. And as you have seen, from no code to pro code, chatbots are for everyone. So we haven't used any kind of code. Okay, we have used a couple of formulas, but that's easy to learn. We all learned Excel. So why can't we just learn to build chatbots in the future? And always remember, chatbots can come in many different forms and also power your team's search experience or hide behind an extension message on any kind of message action you can click in Microsoft Teams, in a Teams conversation, or in a one-to-one conversation. So that's are my key takeaways. Hopefully you like what you see. And yeah, I'm here for questions if there are any. And even after the call, just contact me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. I'm definitely clarifying the license situation for you. And yeah, let me know if there are any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. We really enjoyed the presentation and the demos.
Thank you.
Helpful, yeah. Okay, so any of the colleagues, I guess there were no more questions. I'm saying the last call for questions. Let's say, if somebody, but yeah, you can contact Sebastian at any time and feel free to, yeah. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for your time, for your commitment, and
You're
introducing
welcome.
this interesting and modern topic, I would say, for everyone. And we hope you will be our guest in some very soon occasion to talk about. Can you just tell us what else do you do, or what else do you speak? Just that, like a little, I would say, like a teaser of what technologies we can expect to hear from you.
Yeah, so it's definitely around the Power Platform. So it's not just Power Virtual Agents, it's also Power Apps. So that's the more traditional way of doing things, right? So that's one of the topics. And another topic I really like is connecting the Power Platform to any kind of systems. So for instance, I'm showcasing a Ethereum blockchain connector next week on another meetup. So if that's of interest for you, let me know. Yeah, that's the stuff I'm usually talking about.
Yes. So we also recently, or not recently, but in some previous time, we introduced, as our colleague Serjan here says, commercials in our meetings, in order that, like, commercials, we think like we tell our community about your meetup meetings. And reverse, so let's say that everyone maybe doesn't know which other sessions are held throughout the world. So I hope it is fine also that we attend your sessions you have in your own community, you know.
Anytime.
Any technology, we would be glad.
Everyone is very much welcome.
Yes. Okay. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, everyone, dear colleagues. Thank you for your time attending this one, and wish you all the best. And we see soon each other. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.